Thank you for joining us on another episode of Lifeline 911. This episode features Ted Bourgeois with American Emergency Preparedness and is recorded in 2 parts. This is Part 1. American Emergency Preparedness offers a myriad of courses for professionals in the first responder field, some of which are taught by your favorite podcaster, Erica. While training courses are valuable in keeping the skills of employees sharp, many find a hardship with making it to a physical class during daytime hours. AEP has taken the positive step of being proactive and beginning to offer courses in an online environment at any hour of the day in order to reach the industry which does not lend itself to a 9-to-5 work schedule. This is Lifeline. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lifeline 911 with your host, Erica.
Hello.
Today we have on a special guest. Ted has been on before, and his leadership in the American Emergency Preparedness has allowed them to continue to grow over the last, how long have you been running this now?
Over 8 years.
Yeah, over the last 8 years. And they're now moving into an online space offering lessons and lectures and training online, live, 24/7, if you want to have that for your community. So, Ted, why don't you tell us about, and Erica too, I guess you're kind of in on this, what kind of prompted moving to these online classes as opposed to the traditional in-person ones?
Well, for us, we know the industry is tough now. It's for the most part understaffed by about 20% nationally. So it's difficult to get people off the floor into a classroom, and I still think that's the best training. I think that still has the most impact. But we tried to figure out a way. We did have an online platform that was very stagnant, and it was just a regular online class, which we had some success with, but I didn't like it because it was really something that we take a lot of pride in. Is we are not check the box training. We want you to get something out of what you're doing. And I think a lot of static online training is just that. It's just checking the box. It's just saying, okay, a dispatcher got an 8-hour class or a 4-hour class, and they've had very little impact and very little return for their time and the investment of that time. So we had worked together. Erica had, said that she would love to do it, and to do it virtually and to work as a live instructor online, being able to have a back and forth with somebody. I did some of it with, getting my degrees in psychology, and it was so much better than just a regular online class. When you got that hour with the professor, you got that hour with somebody, just have an adult conversation, to tabletop, to solve maybe, whatever the problems are that need to be solved. And now, especially with this class that we're launching, the CTO program, which is a 3-day virtual class, that's, there's so much to learn. There's so much work. There's so many things where, Erica and I can actually help you in your center develop policies, develop procedures, develop best practices. We have really defined at AEP how to teach this industry, but how to teach teachers to teach. So that's a kind of a redundant statement, but I've taught, well over 1,500 CTOs and certified them in this industry. And what I found out is there's a way we've always done things, and then if they fail, or even if they're not really a best practice, but that's the way we've always done things. And not that we've succeeded with it, but it's more like we've kind of gotten away with it. And we've developed our CTO program for really one way, is to teach somebody to teach this industry correctly and empower these new employees to be accepted, to be part of the family right out of the gate. I don't know what else they have to earn. Why we eat our young. I hate that phrase. Why we have gatekeepers. I love Erica's things. I don't know why we have people in our industry that think we have to toughen them up. Well, no, you have to teach them the language of emergency management. You have to teach them to critically think. And now, if they can critically think, well, now it doesn't really matter what the tasks are, does it? It simply doesn't, because it's just 1, 2, 3 Main Street, the call. And if we know how to critically think through that, well, now it's a much different training. And instead of 6 months of training, we like to do about 16 weeks and really only 12 on the floor. So we're moving through our training very quickly because we're teaching the basics and fundamentals first,
Yeah.
not war stories, the basics and fundamentals, right? So, and I can't tell you how impactful our new platform and our new templates are about critical thinking and how to dispatch and how to call take, and these simple basics and fundamentals that you hammer down. Once they get that, now you move on to all those million tasks that we have. So I think we kind of go out of order sometimes, and I think virtually, I know Erica can make this happen because she's got that vibe. She can do that. It takes a special person, because I've taken some classes, and we've all taken some classes, and anybody who's listening to this right now, we've all taken some classes that have been an interesting event. And then I can honestly say with us, and especially with Erica, I mean, our reviews are off the charts. So people enjoy what we do, people get something out of it, which is more important. And I think that really goes over to managers and directors and people who are, the ones worrying that this training is getting done, knowing that they're getting something for it. And virtually, like I said, it's if you work that interaction correctly, it can almost be the same as being live. You know what I mean? Because now the only real difference is we're on a screen, and as long as everybody takes that serious in the beginning and just says, okay, well, we're going to work towards learning, and this is the platform, and this is where we are, and if you buy into that, it makes a big difference. So Erica could probably talk a little about it as well. It's we're excited about it. I'm really looking forward to see how this goes off, and how the feedback that we get from the people that are participating in our launch in this.
I was going to just piggyback a little bit off. I've been thinking about this. I know that I tell the CTOs, whether they're in front of me in a classroom or in front of me at even our center, so much of this is about mindset. And matter of fact, your mindset is the strongest tool you have as an instructor, as a CTO, as a dispatcher, as a call taker. It doesn't matter what it is. When you go into it with the right mindset, that I believe honestly that's half the battle. Take virtual learning, for instance. If you go in understanding that I have to get my head in a learning space, then success is almost, I would even go out so far and say it's maybe not completely guaranteed, but you have a much,
it's close. Yeah,
you have a much better chance of getting what it is you came for, because your instructor is there to impart knowledge. That's all training is imparting your knowledge, what you've learned, and putting it in a formula, bite-sized pieces, where someone can actually take this information, digest it, and then apply it. And I think the virtual space, I mean, we've got some amazing programs and some amazing companies out there that are offering these, but in that how do you pre-recorded, or even just follow along with a screen.
Sure.
You can get some things out of that, but it's not the same as having a live instructor who is invested, who has the same mindset, ready to teach, ready to interact, ready to have that exchange of energy. I think you just can't beat it. And I think if the students go in understanding what the platform is and what it's not, then you add charisma and a good curriculum, then you're good to go. What, Gary?
Ugh.
What's You're like laughing.
Just adding charisma, said modestly. I appreciate that about you. Well, like, because I've taken a lot of classes, either in person or online. And most of the time when I take an online class, I'm sitting at my desk doing my actual job, and I'm just kind of click, 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 click to get to the end of whatever the heck they're talking about online, and I don't really care, just because I don't have time to focus on that. And so I think a lot of the times those sort of static online classes, from my perspective at least, are really, really pointless. And Ted, as you said, it feels like I'm just doing that so somebody somewhere can check off a box. Yeah, Gary took this course. Okay, we can move on. And
Yep.
that, to me, is really asinine in just how wasteful of my time it is. And, my time is paid for by the taxpayers, so how wasteful it is of the taxpayer money. So when you have
Yeah.
a live instructor, you can't really, or at least shouldn't, have your focus elsewhere. Like, because if Erica's teaching the class, I should be listening to Erica
Yeah.
and her charisma.
But so
I agree.
well, for me, what I enjoyed, I did take a CTO. It was some years back. I did take a CTO course by one of the acronyms out there in our industry. And what I really enjoyed and what I envisioned for this was that instructor was not all buttoned up and just droning on and on. She called on people. She said, hey, you in that little box right there. Here's the question that I have for you. Give me feedback. She engaged as many students. I think it was, I don't want to fib, so I'm going to go conservative and say there was at least 15 of us. I feel like it was a little bit more than that. But she made a point to engage everyone ever so often. Now, obviously, there were more vocal students in an online platform, as there will be in class, right? You can always have those that are just, they are front row, they're leaning in, and you're doing the best. You could probably take a break and hand them the little clicker, and they would probably teach the class for you. But what I really liked and respected about her technique was she was having none of that. There was going to be you're not going to sit in the back and hunch down in your chair, even virtually. And I think that's where, like in our live classes, AEP will really excel here, is I will find you in the back, hunkered down, hoping that I don't see you, because if not you, your agency has trusted that I'm going to give you something for this hard-earned money that they're spending. And you may not even realize what it is, but I feel like it's my job as the instructor to pull you in. And I can't make you engage, but I hope by pulling you in, I'm going to cause you to want to engage.
To me, teaching instructors and training instructors, which I've been doing now for quite a while, it really is your job to engage. So when an instructor says, hey, the class was, nobody wanted to play, I would say, well, you need to reframe you to make sure that they want to play. You know what I mean? You're definitely going to have people who just don't want to, they're very shy, or they're very nervous in front of a group of people. But if you create an environment of trust and create an environment of, hey, I'm here to work with you, not to speak at you or yell at you. We've all been to those classes, right? We get a resume from the morning to the end of the day, and geez, it's a tremendous resume, but I didn't learn anything. Well, it's your job as an instructor to engage. It's your job to make somebody feel. Real inclusion comes from listening, and it comes from an egoless environment. Inclusion doesn't come from any document or any whatever. It comes from you being acceptable to everything. It means that you want to hear what this person has to say more than you want to say it. And a lot of instructors, I don't think, know that. And I think their egos drive some of the stuff. And don't get me wrong, there are tens and tens and tens of really amazing people in this industry. I could name you a few right off the top of my head
Yeah.
that are absolutely incredible and engaging. And the I know she's talking about in that CTO class. I mean, she's outstanding. She knows what she's talking about. She's passionate about that. That's the stuff that has to come across, whether it's live or whether it's virtual. Because if I can't listen, if I can't take the time to listen and understand where you're coming from, Gary, if you have an issue, or you're challenged, or your task list isn't this, or your DOR isn't that, or you don't know how to write really in a DOR, or you don't know how to write objectively, you know what I mean, instead of subjectively, things like that. We have to be able to listen and understand. And I think sometimes, especially in this industry, we're all type A crazy people, right? So that's the definition. That's what it says in the job description: type A crazy person.
Yes.
And so we all have a lot to say, and we all want to be seen and heard. I mean, psychologically and we're pretty much genetically predisposed to be heard,
Hmm.
to say I'm here.
Sure.
When we're speaking, we know we're in control. We can control the speed of what's going on. But for us as listeners, which is what we're supposed to be, it makes such a huge difference when you're teaching, when you don't have an ego. When somebody says something brilliant in class, I'm saying it again. I'm parroting it right out and saying, "Did you just hear what Joe said? Did you just hear what Sarah just said?" Or because it's killer. You know what I mean? Why would I want to step over that or any of that? I just want to make everyone shine. And Erica and I have the same vibe. It's the same pulse. You know what I mean? So we both have the same idea. And anybody who teaches for AEP, we want them to have that. And we've gone through more than I want to say. You know what I mean? We've talked
I
to a lot
saw
of
that
different people.
face.
Well, some people are amazing people and they're wonderful people. And and I love everybody, but you know, can you get out in front of a class for 6.5 hours? Because that's basically what the length of your teaching session. Yes, there's breaks and lunch and all that stuff. So it's about 6.5 hours. Can you represent information, have them understand it, and moreover take away something to bring back to their centers and take something to bring to their career and say, okay, hey, if we're defeating drama, in your center, how are we doing that? And if we're talking about crisis communications or we're talking about stress or health, how are we doing that? What tools are we actually giving you to do that? You know what I mean? And it can't, if you're a really good instructor and you have 25 people in the room, you have 25 opportunities to get knowledge from them to represent to those class. So that means it's not just one instructor teaching the class. If you create an inclusive, honest, egoless environment, it just happens that way. It'll happen organically.
Yeah.
And to say the dopamine dump I get when I'm teaching is crazy, because when it's really flowing and you have a really good group, and I'm on or Erica's on, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how you get when you leave that class is incredible. And because you feel it, you literally feel it.
You absolutely
And
do.
we've all been to the classes when you don't. And you
So,
all head to the bar and go get a beer and me and some martini, and you get ready to go.
Yep.
so, so how is your online class going to kind of function and go? Is it going to be sort of a Zoom call, kind of like we're doing here, or like how are you going to keep that engagement and try and mimic that real life in the classroom feel as much as possible?
Well, Albert can speak to this too, but I mean, in any virtual platform, so it doesn't really matter what the platform is. There's going to be a window and there's going to be an instructor in another window. So those two things you can't change. What we're going to do is add video, add breakout rooms, add ways for them to work together by themselves and then come back to the group. We're going to try to make it as live as we possibly can so they can engage. Like I said, obviously I like live. I'm a live instructor. I like that much, much better. Plus, I'm old as dirt, so technology isn't my strength. But it's I'm not afraid of it, but it's not my strength. My strength is in front of a group of people. we want that persona to come through again and be that way in this environment. You know what I mean? So it will be, you'll get a link before the class starts, and that'll be the link that you'll log into every day for the 3 days. And Erica will manage that.
Mhm.
There'll be technical help behind her. And we will just move through. I've taken so many classes online, and I can tell you for a fact, there's probably two that have gone through seamlessly without technical difficulties. People's Wi-Fi changes, the servers have a problem. I mean, you could have the best environment possible. There's going to be bumps in the road, and we're going to explain that in the beginning and make sure that everybody's on the same page and know that if they do get kicked out, to just come back. It's not a big deal. Don't get frustrated. It's it's the World Wide Web. It's a wonderful place. It's always silky smooth. We all know that. So,
Yes.
but we're going to go into this with the simplest possible demeanor, with very humble, and just go in and teach people how to train people and how to teach people to teach. And really, the main thing that we're going to teach them is critical thinking, how to teach that first.
Yep.
So Erica can add on to it.
I think since it'll be my class, and anyone who's done even a webinar with me knows that what you see, this personality, this face, this body language, all the things will be present at that time, because it's not a show. It's not this is me doing one of the things that I enjoy the most is interacting with my peers, interacting with my colleagues. I will bring some
Amen.
information to you, and we will share information, but everyone has a voice in the class. It will not be me just droning on and on. Now, don't get it twisted. I can talk, and I'd go for a while. Give me some water and
She
give
can.
me a stage, and I got this. Ask Gary about the supervisor meetings we attend together. But I think if I had to brag a little about what I think will make ours special, is what you see is what you get. You're going to get a peer. You're going to get a colleague in front of you, sharing 20 plus years of industry knowledge. And the vast majority of that has been as a CTO on one level or another. And that is where I feel like we will bring the best experience. This will be me sharing with you. When we talk about don't do this, I will be able to raise my hand and say, most likely that was me at some point in my career. And if that's you now, let's talk about how we change that. And we'll get you certified by the time it's over with, but you will have real tools from someone who's done it and is still doing it. Gary knows this to be true. Don't threaten me with a good time. Let a CTO not show up. I'll grab my headset. Let's go. Especially if there's another supervisor on duty and I can step out of that role and step into that. I'll bring all of that energy with me. All of that comes with me. So I can't say that no one else is offering this or will offer this, but they're not me. So that's most of it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's really, really simple. It's, if you are there to learn virtually or in person, you will always get something out of it.
Okay.
If you are there because you've been told to, or you don't want to, or this, that, and the other thing, well, it's tough to represent information to that person. So, we're going to bring the swag. So we're coming. So there's no, we're going to have energy, and that's how we teach. That's the backbone of this company. We do not, we're not big, we're not huge. We don't have 1 million people, but we've all dispatched, and we've all been a CTO, and we all know what we're talking about when it comes to how to teach and how to manage an Iowa One Center, and the best practices that are really best practices, things that actually work. You know what I mean? So we're not teaching anything else. We don't want to teach fluff and fodder and all that other stuff. No. We it's nuts and bolts, and this is where the tire hits the road, and these are the people that are driving that bus, and we know how to do it. So I'm really looking forward to it. We just try to keep giving people the best we can give them, and she's out there, she's good. So I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see it happen.
And I was gonna say, I know that I spent, a few moments just talking about my energy and what I'll bring you, but I think you touched on it earlier, Ted. If there's an assistant manager or a CTO coordinator or, a comm supervisor person that's a decision maker, right, listening to this. And what they really want to know is, I mean, I get it, Erica. You got swag, okay? You've got personality. You'll bring all of that, but at the end of the day, what is my dispatcher, call taker, CTO coordinator just stepping into the job? What will they bring back with them? Well, we're going to talk about DORs, DTRs in our state, but, daily observation reports. Why are they important? What do you use them for other than just to write down what happened? I'm going to challenge their thought process on what this document is for and teach them that it's for documentation purposes, true, but it can be so much more than that. It can be
Very
an
much so.
instruction tool. It can be a link between you and your trainee and how to build that relationship so that when you have to give tough instruction or tough correction, the relationship is already established, and this can be a way to even strengthen it more so that by the time it's all said and done, your CTO comes away with the sense that they are not just checking boxes and ticking off things and writing down case numbers and telling them what they did wrong. They're helping to build a colleague. So more than anything, with all the instruction in 3 days, what I really hope to do is reshape the way they think about their role as a CTO. It is the first rung of leadership. And when you get them to understand that, you can watch that transformation from day one to the end, because they feel like they're just bean counters a lot of times when they come into the room. They feel like they're just someone who is, here's a trainee, show them the ropes. No, you are the first rung of leadership. And that is going to, if I have my way, you're going to sit up a little taller in your chair. Your chest is going to puff out a little more because you understand that you're an integral part of the health of your agency and what it means to share that energy, that supervisory, that coaching, that correction, all of the things that CTOs do that they really don't know that they do, because we do a poor job as an industry of bringing their value up and making sure that they know just how valuable they are. And I think if you start there, then teaching you how to fill out a DOR is cake. If I can get your mindset right and get you understanding just how valuable that piece of paper is after you get done checking boxes, there's a narrative area there where you get to talk to them and give them a reason to come back the next day. That's one.
Yeah.
And it's
For
very
sure.
it's very interesting because training, like so many things in the industry, it's all based on the same principles. So you could be in California or Florida, Maine or Arizona, and teaching someone how to do the job to be a CTO, you're going to rely on the same basic, tools and tricks and trades of, wearing many different hats, being a cheerleader one moment, being an instructor the next. And so it's a very interchangeable skill set that even if you're not, from the same state as your instructor, you can still get a lot out of it, and maybe even hopefully grab some new perspective, as you were saying, Erica, with taking joy in filling out the daily observation report.
I think it makes a difference. Like I said, I have trained and certified a lot of CTOs now, and that's about that. I haven't trained myself enough to shut my phone off though during a podcast. But it's really interesting when people have this training chip on their shoulder, and when it should be a door. You're the doorway to help this person into this industry. That leadership that she's talking about is huge. Where do core values and mission statements fall in line with your entire program? You know what I mean? Where do when you're talking about, for some reason we don't start teaching people to critically think until the 6th, 7th, 8th week of this thing, when that should be the very first thing that you teach them how to do. They don't know the language, and we don't teach that initially. It's interesting when you look at some of the programs in this country, and it's challenging for me because I want to help them, but I know what ones are driven, which ones are ego driven, which ones are process driven, and you can tell the difference immediately. You can tell the difference with when you're speaking to somebody in this industry. You guys know I'm speaking to the choir, and our listeners know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but we've tried to break that mold, and we've tried to make sure that when you leave our programs, you leave with tools to go to work with. I don't want you to leave this class on a Wednesday and not be able to go to Thursday and implement what we've talked about.
Yeah.
Because it works. That's the bottom line for all of this.
Yeah.
Personality, swag, platform, whatever it is. I know what we do works because I've used it and I've taught it and I've consulted it with departments, and I've worked very hard with it. You know what I mean? Our company is we think of we first, and we have done so much work to make sure that we're creating a consistent product that people can use. And I think we've gotten caught up way too far with the acronyms and those companies, and depended on what this is. And some of it has to work, and a lot of that training doesn't, and it's a shame. You know what I mean? So that's for sure. But we're proud of it. Like I said, I'm very excited to get this out there and to let people see it, and to really, we're trying to break ground with the way we do things. We always have, and I know our learning templates are different from any other company for sure. So we are we're excited. We want this to go off and be big, and Erica wants to be a multimillionaire at some point. So you know what I
She's
mean?
well on her way.
Absolutely.
Well, she is. I mean, we both have tens and tens of dollars. We both chipped in for medium coffee today, so we're killing it.
Yes.
Killing it.
I need, I got stuff to buy.
Exactly. Milk,
Yeah.
the electric,
Yeah.
all those, that fancy stuff.
So, from both of y'all's perspective, both as the trainer of the course and as the person who's kind of coordinating the course, how will you measure success in the class? What will make you say, yes, this class had the impact and the reach and the effect that we were going for?
Go ahead, Erica.
Thanks.
For me, it'll be not just the reviews, because reviews are, I'm not going to say that they are not honest and that they're not genuine, but people can leave a nice review because it's the nice thing to do. For me, it will be the leaning in, the interaction, the questions that get asked. And there will be, if I'm doing my job, if I'm engaging the students, they will go back to their agencies and they will say, OMG, this is the thing that I learned when I was there. When they come back day 2 saying, will you look at my training program and see if there's anything that we can do differently or if we can change? Or then they come back and they say, my trainee, blah, blah, blah. And after I spent time with you, they email and they will ask questions and they will tell you what it meant and that it was very different. For me as an instructor, it's a little different. It might be something different for Ted as a founder in the company. I don't know, maybe a bottom line. But I know for me as an instructor, nothing is more gratifying than when I am going back to my email after a class is over and boom, there's one of the students who's saying, I learned this. I was able to go back to the next day And I remember this part in the class where you taught XYZ, and I was literally able to use it. That is success, not they drank the Kool-Aid and they went back to their agencies, and now all of a sudden they're telling them how much their agencies are awful and horrible and none of us know what we're doing and this is the only thing that we can do and we got to change it all. No, I want to encourage them to go home or to their class or back to their agencies with a foundation that they can build on. So to me, that is, I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but for me as an instructor, in person or virtual, whether it be a webinar that's a couple of hours or this new thing you're going to do 3 days, that will be how I measure the success. Ted?
I mean, I agree. I think success for me is simple. I mean, if I was in this really for the money, I wouldn't be here because it's a lot of work to make this happen. So what it really is I have a passion for this industry. And when we go back to a place for the fourth or fifth year in a row, that's the success. So when you build a relationship with a department or a director or a supervisor, that's when you know that there's success. Reviews are awesome, and we do value those very much. But they're a piece of it. It's a piece of that. I definitely agree 1,000% when there's engagement in the class, you know it. We do things like, when people are really crabbing about leadership and all of that stuff, we work very hard to say, well, what are you doing to support leadership? Are you working with leadership? Don't go back there throwing rocks at people. We don't teach that.
Nope.
We teach you, hey, we've given you this foundation. Go back and build a better relationship with your leadership, and now make your son move forward. Don't make an excuse because so and so is you don't get along with them. This isn't second grade. You know what I mean? This is grown up time. This is when I graduated high school in 1980, a couple of days ago, right? So, you know what I mean? 1982. It's been a couple of days, right? So I'm over that. And if we can't go back with these great platforms and these great ideas and these great fundamental things and not build a better relationship with leadership, well, that's not just leadership's fault.
No.
And we forget about that, and we teach that. That's one of our core tenets is basically, hey, what are you bringing to the day?
Yes.
And if you're a CTO, that means you got to bring energy. You have to bring caring. You have to bring listening. It's not about you giving a speech for 8 hours and beating up on some new person that you just want to beat up on. And how many times have we seen people yelling at somebody on the floor? And I always say, well, why are you yelling? What's the benefit of it? First of all, I can understand, hey, start a sergeant here, or you bark out something that you're elevating a call and you're supervising, you're moving through a day. That's different. If you're barking at somebody and chewing somebody's head off in a teaching manner, yeah. Who are you yelling? You're yelling to say, hey, look at me, I'm yelling at this person. Well, that ain't if we're looking for success, we're looking for what foundational things are you going to bring back? And, and we get the emails afterwards.
Yeah.
Hey, this worked. Ted, thank you so much. Erica, thank you so much. AEP, thank you so much. We get those emails a lot. And that's the success stuff. Like I said, money would be wonderful too, but we'll see how that goes.
None of us will ever be paid in this industry, I think, what we're worth. Because for one, it's public safety, and the first word in that is public. So the money isn't ours. It's not like it is in the private sector.
That's it. It's no.
I mean, he's rolling in it.
Oh yeah, he just brings it. He's just rolling in it. It's absolutely. But to just really quick off of what you said, another one of the hallmarks I try to bring to the class, and I learned this from Ted, is leadership is fundamental to being a CTO. And that's why I start there, talking to them about leadership and getting them thinking in that overall view. Get away from the eye level
that most of us operate in as, I don't really care for the word, but as subordinate frontline employees, right? So when you start challenging that perspective, challenging that mindset, challenging that point of view, then you start getting them thinking. You start talking to them about, hey, first supervisor your baby call taker dispatcher is ever going to have. I need you now to get to thinking this way so that when you get back to your agency, you link arms with your next level in your chain of command and begin to bring in some of these changes that we're talking about. But it begins and starts with you. Your manager's not in the CTO class, so there's that. You are. I'm talking to you. Now, what are you going to do to make your center better?
Plus, do you want a coworker? Do you want somebody sitting next to you who actually knows what they're doing? I mean, when the poop hits the fan, it's really handy when the people around you can rock and roll with you. And it's not very handy when they can't. And it's, as a supervisor and as a, trainer and all those neat things, it's really fun when people don't know how to do their job. It's really exciting. It makes it for a much more perky evening. There's a reason there is no hair left here. It left. First 4 children and a crazy marriage. That's the first half. The other half is the other 20 years of fun with this industry. But I can tell you, the last 6 or 7 years of my time there, we had really good people. We trained them really well. They knew their jobs. I didn't have to lead much. I just watched them do their thing. And then I jumped in when you got to jump in, right? When it gets deep, when the water gets deep, you got to jump in.
Yep.
But other than that, go do your job now because I trained you to do it correctly.
Yep.
And it's a crazy concept, I know. To the micromanagers out there, I know that's scary to hear, to let somebody do their job. But it's wonderful when it goes that way.
Oh, my God.
Literally, I didn't have to say nothing to anybody other than, hey, do you want me to run that return? Do you want me to do this? And saying do you want me to shag you a tow truck? Like, that's it. I'm just helping.
Yeah.
Let them do their thing if you train them right.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Lifeline 911. Please join us next week for the second part of this conversation with Ted Bourgeois of American Emergency Preparedness. We look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you for watching our production of Lifeline 911. If you have any questions about today's topic or topics you'd like us to cover in the future, please reach out to us at lifeline911podcast@gmail.com. This has been a production of Lifeline 911 Podcast, copyright 2025. From all of us at Lifeline, stay safe out there. And until next time, this is Lifeline 911 signing off.